Okay, I'm going to show you a simple modification, how to change over from the 6 batteries that are in the controller to go to a 9-volt battery. So if you were to add up all the 1.5s, it would come up to a 9-volt. So I think it's a little more economical to use 9 volts than it would be for using the AA's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you're going to do it. You're going to need a couple batteries. You're going to need a little foam pad. You're going to need some shrink tubing, little pieces, Phillips head screwdriver, some nippers, and a razor knife, and a soldering iron. And that's pretty much about it. So I'm going to get busy here and get going here. So first thing you're going to want to do is take off this screw here, and right underneath there will be the antenna. Put your screws off to the side. It's on there pretty tight, so just wiggle it back and forth and gently pull it off, and it'll reveal the antenna. Then you have 4 more screws. Okay, now we're going to reveal the inside. Now the inside, what you're going to want to do is take your soldering gun, and I must plug mine in. And you're going to want to nip these things off, or take the solder gun and unsolder them. Now at that point, what you're going to want to do is pull up on these little tabs, which are the battery leads on the inside. You just want to flip them all up. Use a screwdriver or something flat and get underneath them and lift them up, because you won't be needing them anymore. And once you do that, it should pull out relatively easy. There you go. Okay, get this one down a little more. Okay, I have so many of these things, I'm just going to trash them. Okay, now what you're going to want to do is take your little torch here. You're going to want to heat up a little screwdriver. We're going to want to make an access hole for the wires to come through to the inside of the box. Won't take much to heat it up. I find this to be easier. You can use a drill, and 1, 2, 3 in the 4th battery compartment from the right side. Just poke a hole in it. And that's where our wires are going to come through. Just going to clean this up a little. And that's that. Okay, now I'm going to set that aside. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make an end for it. And I don't happen to have one, but you can use this here. Is I have a dead battery, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open it up just on the very top. You can get one out of an old radio. You can go to Radio Shack and purchase them, but this is one way you can make one at any given time. So save your dead batteries and take these out. And I'm going to show you here in a second how to do it. So just uncrimp it. And once you do, that'll pop right out. And you can see, once we pull this out, you will have your connector. Now, you can take it, cut it off, take the other end off, and then you're going to want to take off the rest of what's on there, and we're going to use them little tabs that are left. So, with a little bit of sandpaper, just going to score them up a little bit. Obviously, it will be a lot easier to purchase one of these, but like I said, they're easy enough to make. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your wire, that they had coming out through here, you're going to strip them. Once they're stripped, just going to bend these over a little bit just to make a little loop in them. Now dip them in flux. Okay, that's ready. Now, what we're going to do is prep the end. Now, if you look on your battery, you'll see that it has a plus and a minus. So when you put this together, this big end is going to be the plus. So what I'm going to do is grab some of my flux, put a little bit on these leads that I just sanded down. Solder on there. This way I'll give the solder something to lay in. There you go. So now we're pretty much tinted up there. I'm going to tint these up. Now the other one that I did, I wound up adding a little more extra wire to it. That's why I had the shrink tubing, but you don't necessarily have to do that. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take them two wires and we're going to pass them through that hole that we made. Send them through. Well, let's do this first. I'm going to have to notch this out. So what you're going to do, you can either get yourself a little Dremel and cut it out. What you're going to want to do is right where these tabs are, right on the end, you're going to want to cut straight down. You're going to want to cut this out from here to here, this one, and this one. And we're going to just notch that right out. I find it a lot easier to use a hot knife and just melt it right out, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. It's going to take a little longer, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward this until I'm done with this process. Now we're going to pass the wires through. And we are going to take our bigger portion here, and that is going to be our positive. Black, going to be the negative. Need a little helping hand here. Okay, now what you're going to do Put this all off to the side. Then you're going to take your shrink tubing. Now I don't have the right size, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to stretch it out a bit. So it fits right over. And cover them wires. Okay. And I'm just going to take my knife here and I'm just going to cut this open to expose the ends. And then we're going to stretch them right over. Makes for a nice homemade connector. Probably the hardest part. Okay. Now we're going to heat it up. Use a hair dryer. You can use just about anything. If you don't have. Crimp that off. And that's how you make it. And that's perfect. So now I'm going to take all this, set it off to the side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little padding that I have and I'm going to set that right over this board right here. Mine happens to be a little self-adhesive. I'm going to have to cut her down a little bit. Fits in there. And we're just going to go right over that board. It's not going to hurt anything. So now, put it all back together. Turn it back on. It doesn't kink up. Okay, now the moment of truth. Plug her in. Right in there. Put my lid on. Turn it on. And lo and behold, she works perfect. So again, thank you for viewing. Hope you can use this little tip. Really doesn't take too long, and you probably have most of it at home. And thank you for viewing. Please subscribe and comment. Have a great day.